What's going on, NGC? We are here about to do an interview with Pastor Ahmad Muqtasid. He is the executive pastor here at our church, and we're going to let y'all get to know him a little bit. So we're going to ask him a couple of questions so you can get to know him. Pastor Mai Mutasa.
Yes.
That's you.
Yep. First off, I prefer Ahmad.
Yep. Just Ahmad.
Yeah, not Pastor Ahmad, just Ahmad. That's
Why is that? Why not the pastor? Because people like to hear that pastor.
Yeah, I like to take off the pastor title just to develop relations. And I'm not into titles like that, so I just prefer people to just call me Ahmad. So that'd be nice if you just everybody can just roll with Ahmad. Yeah.
All right, so Ahmad Muqtasid.
Yep, there we go.
So where are you from?
I am born and raised in Arkansas. I grew up in Lee County, Marietta, Arkansas. Spent some time in Camden, Arkansas. I have 13 aunties and uncles on my mom's side and 4 aunties and uncles on my dad's side. So I got 17 aunties and uncles and about 100 cousins.
Wow.
So pretty big family. But yeah, born and raised in Little Rock. I graduated from Little Rock Hall. And I also moved to Atlanta my junior year of high school. That was the year of the Dirty Bird. If you're into football, Atlanta Falcons. And that was a year of Purple Rain. I don't know if anybody remember those days, but that's definitely the year of that. That's up to high school. Right?
Married, got kids and all
that? Yep. So Tasia and I, we got married in June 2013. We met though in 2006. I tried to holler at Tasia in the math class, and she turned me down. She turned me down several times. She told me I wasn't ready, and I kept trying. I went to a party later on that night. We was in college, and I tried to holler at this other girl. Her hair was down. She was pretty. Come to find out, it was the same girl. And she said, "See, you ain't ready." And so I blew my shot. And then a few years later, probably like 2009, 2008, I was going through some things in life, and I found my way back into the church. And there Tasia was in Sunday school, and she told me she wanted me to come to Sunday school. So Tasia was actually the one that invited me into Sunday school. And I ended up marrying her, and got 2 kids, Abigail and James now.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Tasia and I first said, "I love you" on a mission trip in Haiti, Pignon, Haiti. First time.
Oh.
Yeah. So we served together as well.
So y'all were already in the church.
Yeah, so when I got to the church, I wasn't in the church like that. Tasia probably more raised in church. So I'm raised, hence the name Ahmad, right? So that's, my dad's side was Muslim, my mom's side was Christian. So I wasn't raised in the church, And so when I was at St. Mark Baptist Church, which is where me and Tasia really started dating at, she was already engaged into ministry and stuff like that. So I was just trying to holler. I didn't want to go to Sunday school, by the way, but I went because, she was fine.
Oh,
that's why I went. This is what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And so, but led me to a life of ministry. Here we are.
Well, that is all right. That is all right. So she was fine, so it led you to it. Huh?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know how we brothers are. We can be like something fine. We can dine and wine.
Yep. So guys, go to Sunday school. If a beautiful woman invites you. There it is.
You talk about coming to church. What brought you to God?
Brought me to God?
Yeah.
So my calling probably came shortly after. I think it was 2009 when I first started feeling the call to serve God's church. I really couldn't find interest in anything else, right? I just, I was in corporate America. I working jobs and things like that. And I did a good job at those jobs. I even got promoted several times, but it was just something in me where I only wanted to perform for God's house. I only wanted to perform for the church. I only wanted to, I wanted to give all my service to God's house. And that happened like 2009. Of course, I didn't know what that meant, nothing like that. And so I got with like the mentors in the church, and they helped guide me through what that calling would look like. And so they put me in some preaching classes. They put me in some ministry classes. That's actually why I got into service. So that's why I ended up going to Haiti. That's why I was teaching the youth. That's why I was teaching young adults. I was doing all that to explore my calling. And I mean, I just fell in love with serving God's church. And so ever since then, that's what I've been doing since 2009.
All that brought you here to New Generation. Tell us a little bit about your position here now at New Generation.
Yeah, so my position here at New Generation is, first off, I serve the senior pastor. I serve, the vision and the needs of Pastor Tremaine Harris, right? And also, I'm also here to serve the church, because that's my passion, is to serve God's church. And the church government is set up to where, it could be the elders or the deacons or the senior pastor. And Tremaine is the senior pastor here. So whatever he needs is what I'm here to do. I'm a servant. I'm not anything else but a servant. I come here to help in any need. I mean, y'all may see me preaching. You may see me, with a broom in my hand. You may see me with a vacuum. I may have a mop. I may be serving in a food bank. I mean, it's whatever a servant is here to do. And so, whatever Tremaine needs me to do is pretty much what I do. If I see some things that I think that can be beneficial to the church at large, I'll submit a proposal to Tremaine and say, hey, I think that this is some good steps to get our church in the right direction. He give a yay or nay, and then I execute it. So, I mean, different things. I mean, I check out the giving system, check out the church management system, anything that's needed for the church to help it become more established. I'm here. Sharing the gospel, small groups, anything, just a servant.
Tell us a little bit about church planting. What is church planting?
Yeah, that's a great question. So church planting, I like to tell this illustration, because a lot of us are familiar with missionary Baptist churches, right? Mm-hmm. We'll see a church that say such and such missionary Baptist church. Well, what happened with that church was a missionary came down and planted that church. Most African American churches started in a mother's house. She invited people over from the community, and then she would bring a preacher in to come preach twice a month. And then as it grew in the community, then they went ahead and made an established church. And then it'll be called, St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church. Mm-hmm. But most of the time it started with one person that decided to start having Bible study in their house. Mm-hmm. And then it got too big for them, and they brought in a preacher. And then that's when it started growing. And so church planting is very similar. You send somebody out to a specific area, and they're out there praying with people, sharing the gospel, and they're having small groups in their house or in their apartment, and to the point to where if God says it, that they will grow into a church. So a church plant is not necessarily an established church. So Conway is an established church. NGC Conway, this is an established church. We got a pastor, we got deacons, we got staff, we got a praise team, we got people that come every Sunday. It's all kind of stuff going on. It's operating in different areas, but a church plant is more, boots on grounds, very grassroots, meeting people, getting to know people, having community events. Mm-hmm. There's not even an established building in Mobile. It's just, we're out there in the apartment community, getting to know people, having monthly events, sharing the gospel, praying for people, and having Bible study in the apartment complexes. And then if God says so, if he grows that into enough people to where it can become his church, then that's what happens. So church planting is the seed, mm-hmm. not the actual plant itself. Mm-hmm. The plant itself is the church, but the seed, the church planting, is we're planting the seed to see if God's going to make that a church.
What can we do as a church to help support that process?
The first thing anybody can do is pray. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we can get caught up on wanting supernatural things to happen without going to God. We definitely have to go to God and ask God to bless it so that it can happen, because it needs God's power to happen. Many people have tried to church plant and failed, mm-hmm. right? So pray, please pray, so that God can put his power on that church. The second thing you could do is give. That's definitely something that you can do. You can give, because church planting is not free. It would be beautiful if the only thing we did, like in the first century, was just walk around and share Jesus, and you know, introduced people to Jesus, and Jesus healed them, and people came around Jesus all outside, and Jesus just preached on you know, on top of a rock or a mountain. But nowadays, especially in America, you know, it is definitely, you know, other things that involve it, like I say, community events, you know, talking to people, helping people, serving people. And there's nothing you can do. So that's pray, you can give, and you can serve. You know, sign up to be a part of the Maumelle missionary team. It's a missionary team. It's a serve team. You know, you can sign up, and, you know, because we're doing things out there. We're having prayer days. We're having evangelism days. We're having community event days. And we even have a small group now there in Maumelle. So, you know, there's different ways to get involved. And sometimes there's things that, you know, Tajal and I may not be able to do like we want, but we do need help. God says in his word, you know, pray that God would send laborers for the harvest, because the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. That means it ain't enough people working in the harvest. And so God says pray for that. So pray with us that God sends more laborers to help us with the work.
That's all right. And you got the full support of our pastor, Tremaine Harris, as well with that, right?
Yeah, Tremaine, now, here's a great story, right? Mm-hmm. Before I even got hired, Tremaine told me that his vision for New Generation Church was to plant churches. That's what he told me before I got hired. And so that stuck to me because that's something that I was interested in doing. That's actually one of the things of why I came on board, because the vision of the church was not just to be a Conway church, that it was to expand. You know, not just, you know, be one particular area. So, yeah, Tremaine has a church planting heart, and so he said that he wants to plant more churches under the umbrella. So, yeah.
I need one more question from you. Tell me one fun fact about you.
A fun fact about me. I don't know if this is fun, but I binge watch Netflix sometimes all night long. You know, I'm one of them guys where I hate like watching Sunday to Sunday. So I wait till the whole show come out, and then I try to binge watch it the whole time. So I may spend, you know, 5 or 6 hours, you know, in front of the TV trying to get through a whole show. So that's a fun fact. I love binge watching Netflix shows, or any show for that matter.
As long as you do all that after you read the Bible and all that stuff, that's all.
For sure, man. Yep, got to read that Bible.
There you have it. That is Ahmad Muqtasid, our executive pastor here at New Generation. I want you to stay tuned for more of this interview with him. But next week, join us back. We will have Pastor Henry Lucas. He is our youth pastor here at New Generation. And that's all.